Old School Bodybuilding Clothing Company. If it's been 3.5 hours since you last ate protein, and now you're starting to freak out, you are old school. If watching someone sit on a hammer machine for 5 minutes between sets playing with their phone pisses you off, you are definitely old school. OSBBC.com for the hardest training athletes.
Of Iron Rage. I'm Dave Palumbo, joined as always by Lee Priest, and I got a lot to talk about today, Lee. I'm
happy Gay Pride Month.
That's true. You know, it's funny, Lee. Old school.
Why do the important things in life, like I think a couple of weeks ago, it was National Donut Day. A fucking donut that brings people so much joy, sugary goodness. Things like this only get a day. But if you suck a cock, you get a whole month. What's up with that? What's up with that, Dave? I want to know.
Look, you know what? People who've been oppressed for long periods of time, they deserve. Donuts have never been oppressed. They've always been championed as being the greatest food of all time. So
hey, donuts have killed more people with cholesterol and fat than AIDS has. So donuts should get a whole month.
That might be true, but we still glorify them nonetheless.
And it's true. I've done fact checking on that.
I know. Yeah. I'm sure you've done some experimental research yourself on that. Yeah.
I have. I've eaten 1,000 donuts and maybe sucked 2 cocks. So on average, I'm almost balanced it out.
Anyway.
And I sucked it through a donut hole too. So I had the both sugary goodness with the cream filling.
I know that Blackman had a few cream fillings for you, right?
That was more like an eclair.
All right, I gotta vent a couple things because number one, we bought this bunk bed for my son about two weeks ago, and we're in the rooms to go, and we found the bunk bed he wanted, whatever, and we ordered it. And I'm like, when are they going to be able to deliver? So we could deliver it tomorrow. I'm like, wow, what service? So of course it comes the next day. And one of the pieces is broken. So they can't put the bunk bed together because obviously it's scratched and it's dented. It looks like someone must have dropped the box. So, what are you going to do, right? So I said, fine. They said, oh, yeah, we'll put the request in and they'll deliver another one. So we have to wait 2 weeks. Now, 2 weeks to a kid 5 years old is like 2 years, right? They have no concept of time. And so he's been driving us crazy. When's the bunk bed coming? So finally, today it was supposed to be delivered. He's in school now. The bunk bed comes, my wife goes out there, they're going to deliver it, and it's not in the box. They have it like shrink wrapped with plastic. So I'm assuming, they must have just, in the factory, taken it out of the box, right, and inspected it because they figured, well, the last one that came here.
It's the one they had on show in the store.
I don't know what it was. They take my wife says before they even take the plastic off, the guys on the truck are like, uh-oh. And she's like, it's like wobbling already. Like they haven't even taken it out of the plastic yet. It's wobbling already. And so she takes it out. Of course, it's damaged in like a million places. And so we call up rooms to go. And we're like, nothing for nothing. My son's sleeping on a mattress on the floor. You guys told us one day. Now we're going to go on another 2 weeks. You have to deliver another one. I said, what the freak's going on here? Oh, we're sorry. I'm like, why would you put something? It's not even in a box. Can't someone in the warehouse take a look at the thing to see if it's damaged, especially since you sent one already that was damaged? I don't know. No one knows. No one knows what the problem is. It's unbelievable how
scraps. If the bed's that wobbly, scrap this. Don't play this video. Whatever child you need to sacrifice for a lawsuit, have them sleep on the bottom because it comes crashing down. Think of the money. Yeah. You can own rooms to go or whatever it is.
You know what the problem is? No one gives a crap anymore about anything.
No, they don't.
It's like the this is what people ask me, Dave, how come you don't have a warehouse for your species nutrition products? I said, you know why? I don't want to deal with dumb people who have to work in the warehouse. And I'm not saying all people working in warehouses are dumb. There's plenty of very smart people and there's very adept. I don't want to deal with these people because it would drive me crazy if someone's sending out damaged product to other people or they're not inspecting things, because no one cares about their job, they just kind of throw it in the truck, and that's it. And so that's why I have a fulfillment warehouse. This way, if they send out something that's damaged, which they do a lot, I can scream at them because it's not my responsibility. I can say, what the fuck are you doing? And they have to pay for it. Anyway, so I feel bad for my son.
Well, but it's true. Nobody does want to work anymore. When I went down to get my COVID shot in Sydney, you have a job, right? A busy street in Sydney, and the traffic controllers that they have. I see it all the time. Even if you go into a department store or just normal stores, the amount of young kids working who don't want to work, they're on their bloody cell phones and shit. This woman's controlling traffic on the main busy street, and as I walk past her, as she's got the sign controlling traffic, she's like, okay, then I'll meet you at the bar about 8 o'clock, and then get the girls together. She's having a private conversation while she's controlling traffic on one of the busiest streets in Sydney. I'm thinking, where's your focus at? And mine just looked like the Kardashians. She's one of those girls all done up like this, and the eyelashes and the hair all done. It looked like she was ready to go straight from work to the bloody bar. But I'm thinking, you'd never be allowed to have private conversations in work hours and shit like that. But you see it all the time now. You walk into a store, I've seen young kids on their phone, you walk in, they just look up and go, It's not like, may I help you or come and give you service. They just like, okay, thanks. Well, have you had the one too where even that happened at the gym once. I'm waiting for get a protein drink, and the girl on the counter, she's talking about something she's going to do on the weekend. So I can hear it's a private phone call. She just goes, I'll be with you in a minute. Okay, yeah. Well, have them go here. Yeah, then we'll meet there at 2. I'm thinking, you're at fucking work. Hang up your private phone call and come and fucking serve me. So fucking rude.
Yeah, no, it's terrible.
But yet, if you say anything, you ought to fucking roid it out.
Right.
Raging
I've had
bodybuilder.
employees, not Tyler, so I'm leaving out of this conversation. I've had employees who used to watch porn, in between doing TV shows. I had to be like, excuse me, can we maybe edit the TV? Can we edit the TV show, please? Can you turn the porn off?
I don't know what you're looking at, Tyler, but I can hear you breathing heavy.
Tyler brings his new puppy into work, who's very well behaved, I must say.
Okay, brings the puppy in. Okay, that's what you want to call it.
All right, what I really want to talk about today, the thing I really want to rant about, not about broken bunk beds or anything like that. I want to go crazy a little bit about this whole Olympic situation, and I don't know if anyone's been following, so I'm gonna kind of present the case as if no one knows. But there's a sprinter. She's an 800-meter runner. That's 2 times around the track. It's a half mile. Her name is Caster Semenya. She's from South Africa, and she's the Olympic champion at the 800 meters. And she has an interesting, I guess you could say, genetic disorder. She's a biological female, so she has an XX chromosome, but she produces high levels of testosterone. They call it hyperandrogenemia or something like that. And she just happens to produce higher levels of testosterone in her body, but she is, female in every way. Now, she looks a little masculine, okay? And so I think a lot of people, that's why they got suspicious of her. Hey, she's winning all these races. She looks like a guy.
I think most female athletes, those top female athletes in most sports, whether it be even fighting and that, if you look at them, a lot of them, even like weightlifting, the ones that are female, do look a lot masculine because the hormones are probably higher.
Right.
And that goes in all sports, even some of the top Olympic runners, like you said, but even some of the pole vaulters and shit like that, they have a lot of masculine type features in them. If you shave their head, they can almost look like a man.
Lee, that's why a lot of these athletes are better than everyone else, because their bodies genetically are better, just like in bodybuilding. Is it unfair that Jay Cutler had shoulders out here, or that Ronnie Coleman had arms, 20-inch arms before he even started training? No, I mean that's just genetics. There's nothing. That's why some athletes are better than others. It's not a level playing field.
In bodybuilding, they should have done our test, because I have naturally high testosterone. So if you get me or you had Ronnie and they say your test is too high, okay. So in the off season, you're only allowed to take 200 milligrams to stipulate.
Right. Let's say they did drug testing in bodybuilding, and would it be unfair for someone like you or Ronnie who has high testosterone to compete? No, I mean that's your gift, Well,
when I was younger and had to do the world championships because it was drug tested, I actually had a letter from my doctor saying my testosterone was higher, and that's why my mother, when she started training, her testosterone was higher. She had to take estrogen to keep her male level down.
Wow.
But when she started training with weights, she stopped the estrogen, and with 8 months, she won her first show, then she won the couples with me. So
that's funny. Lee's a liar. He's just juicing. He's trying to make up excuses. Why,
And then I got my mum on the juice. And it was like,
Lee was juicing at 13,
A family that juices together stays together.
So, anyway,
if you can't exchange needles with your mum, what can you do?
That's right. To get back to the story, so what they ruled that if she wants to compete in the Olympics again, as a woman, she has to take androgen blockers to lower her levels of testosterone. Now, which is to me ludicrous because that's her genetics, And then here's the rub: she can compete, they said, at distance races. Now, why they felt that the high testosterone is more of an advantage in the sprint races, but not in the distance races, I have no idea. The reason they said that was because obviously she's a sprinter. And I know she's tried to actually qualify for the Olympics at the 5,000 meters, which is 3.1 miles on the track. And I'll tell you something. She's a sprinter. Her best time, which was 15 minutes and 32 seconds, is pretty much my best time when I was a runner in college. And that's pretty impressive, that she's still that good, And most men are much better than women. So she's still good, but she's not good enough to be an Olympic champion, obviously, at 5,000 meters. So the question is, why would they make her take androgen blockers, but yet they have this Olympic lifter, Laurel Hubbard from New Zealand, who was a man up until a couple years ago, and now at 43 years old, this male Olympic lifter is now a woman Olympic lifter and is going to be able to enter her first Olympics and obviously probably win because she's beaten pretty much everyone else. I mean, because let's face it,
we have a lot of people because we get on the news here because New Zealand's close to us.
Yeah,
we get on the news here. A lot of people are actually talking about boycotting. Some of the other women weightlifters are talking about boycotting it because now she's come in. Well, who's now a she come in, has broken all these records that have been set by women for years and years. This man now comes in, says he's a woman, and he's blasting all these records. And now he's actually, I think, going to the Olympics, but yet he's stopped an actual female from taking that spot and going to the Olympics, who's an actual female. So it's ridiculous. And, he can take estrogen blockers, whatever, but it's still like, even if he takes estrogen, he's still been like 40-odd years a man. So he's got the muscle there, he's got the skeletal density is totally different. It's his tendons. The male makeup's different. So no matter what he takes, he's still going to be stronger, sadly, than the actual female. So
I tell people
how can he go?
When bodybuilders, when you go off a cycle after a show, Lee, and, sometimes you go for testing and your testosterone levels will be like 10. They'll be like a woman's, right? Because your body crashed and it hasn't turned itself back on. Sometimes it never does. And I don't see these guys, they're still lifting the same weight in the gym. Maybe their weights drop 10 pounds, right?
Exactly. You might just cry a little more while you're lifting the weight, but, you get emotional. But apart from the strength-wise, it doesn't really go anywhere. Oh, what are you going for, Dave? You're reaching for something today? You don't need to.
I'm reaching for my my pistol. No, the point is that
for the car key.
Yeah, the point is that how they could feel that this is in other words, they think because the levels of testosterone in their body at that moment when they're going to be tested are below a certain amount, that makes the two of these athletes equal. And you and I know that is so ludicrous. It's such an arbitrary way to decide who competes as a woman and who competes as a man that it's almost like it's insulting to the intelligence of the athletes and to the fans, I think.
And what gets me is, too, she could have a good court case because a lot of the testing is random. So let's just say there's 20 people who are in her running divisions. Or let's say there's like more in the 100 meters, 200, all the ones she can't do. Say she wanted to do the 100 and the 200 and the 400 or 300, but she can't do them because they say her hormones are so high. They haven't tested every other woman in those divisions. How do they know some of them women don't have higher hormones as well? It's like if you're going to single her out, then you should test everybody and go,
that's
okay,
a good point.
None of you can do it.
Because they don't test. What they do is they test for synthetic steroids, right, which they look for metabolites in the urine. And then they don't do blood testing. And then they test for the ratio. So in other words, if you took a shot of testosterone exogenously, your epi-testosterone, the testosterone ratio would be off. That would be the only thing that they'd be able to tell. So they could tell if someone was taking exogenous testosterone. But if there's another woman like her who produces excess testosterone, who's maybe just not as good as her, and she's coming in second and third place, she's still fine, because they're not. If you're going to tell her that she's got to go for testing just because she looks a little masculine and people questioned whether she was a woman or not, we know she is a biological woman, by the way, you got to test everyone. Otherwise, it's not fair.
Exactly.
Because they could be other women like her with hyperandrogenemia, but that we just don't know because they're not as good an athlete as she is.
Exactly. So that's like you're stopping someone who, like you said, naturally has that ability. It's like, look at, I don't know, you just look at their makeup because they're strong and they're quick. Look at the Serena sisters. To me, their hormones are probably higher when you look at the Williams. So what's the tennis players going to do? Say, well, excuse me, you can't play tennis because your hormone levels are naturally higher than the other girls playing.
Right.
So
exactly.
we've got to
Same thing. You're right.
We've got to take your titles back and stuff like that. That's ridiculous. It's like you can't put it down for having the natural ability. It's like,
look, you know, and I know, and let's call it like it is here, Lee. If this woman, okay, had glammed herself up with hair extensions and makeup before, no one would have seen. People would have thought, oh, she's beautiful. Because she's got nice features. She just doesn't, she doesn't really do much with herself, and she looks a little masculine because she doesn't have long hair and she doesn't put a lot of makeup on her face. But if she did all that glam, no one would question it whatsoever. You know that. I
exactly.
hate to say
that's like, what's the name too? I'm sure her hormones are higher. When you used to watch Ronda Rousey fight, she was very mannish in the face and stuff. But then when you see her out in an event, when she's glammed up, you're like, well, she's actually a very attractive girl. But when she would fight and her hair was just pulled up, makeup
she
on,
looked like a beast. Yeah,
she had very manly features. So, to stop a natural woman from competing like that, she'd have to have some sort of lawsuit against him, because that's just ridiculous. It's like, well, you're almost too good because of your genetic ability. You can't do this. But yet this guy that used to be a guy who's now a female, you can go compete with the women. I'm like, how stupid is the world becoming?
I would like to put it out there because I don't have time to do this, but I want to tell Big Lenny's people out there, you guys are watching, get Lenny and put a wig on him. And I want you to make him look like that Laurel Hubbard girl. And have him do like a powerlifting thing and say that I'm entering the Olympics as a woman. I've decided I'm becoming a woman now. I can't win the Olympia as a man. I'm gonna compete as a woman powerlifter. If you put a wig on Lenny, I guarantee you he'd be more attractive than that Laurel Hubbard from New Zealand. I mean, give me a break.
I saw people like some female powerlifters anyway look pretty. Well, remember when Bev Francis back in the day when she was a powerlifter, she was like massive. It's like I remember. Was at a show once and someone told me the story where someone was behind her and someone actually thought it was a guy. They said, excuse me, sir. And she turned around. It was Bev, because back in her day when she was powerlifting, she was so solid. Solid.
And
just
she really, she didn't glam herself up like she did when she started entering the Olympics.
No, it's like powerlifters. They don't give a shit about makeup and shit. You're just going to lift the weights and stuff like that. So it's not like girls that go to the gym these days, where I was at the gym the other day. I swear they must spend like 2 hours prepping for the gym and 20 minutes in the gym. I mean, the hair extensions are done. They got the latest clothes on, them scrunch bum pants, the big eyelashes, the lips and makeup are all done. And every set they walk to the mirror. Here's the thing I don't like about the Olympics too. It's like I always respect the female athletes, but when are you women going to stand up for yourselves? Look at beach volleyball. Guys wear shorts and a tank top. The women now on beach volleyball, have you seen what they wear? They wear the tiniest little pants that are up their ass. And when they're going to hit the ball, the camera's right behind them. These little tops. Look at the pole vaulters now. Men wear shorts and a tank top. Women now, every time you see pole vaulting or any type of women's sports on there, it's always got to do with a sexual video, because they've got the tiniest shorts on up their bum and these little tops. And they just zoom in. It's like no one's watching for your sporting ability, even though you're great. They're watching because, and it's like, when the men have the shorts and tank tops on, okay, so we know the clothing don't restrict your ability. So why are these women getting in skimpier clothing just to get people to watch?
Well, it's marketing. Yeah, it's all marketing. That's why.
Yeah, but they always say we want to be recognised and known for our sporting achievements. Well, you're not. You're being noticed for your snatch as you're going over the high jump. It's like, it's like...
Yeah, but look at Janae Marie Kroc, Matt Kroc, who used to be Matt Kroc. I mean, if she's a powerlifter, I mean, if she competed, and she said she would never compete as a female because she doesn't think it's fair, which I completely back on her part. I think that's really cool for her to say. But she's on androgen blockers. If she competed as a woman, she would break every powerlifting record known to man. She would have all the records, and she would win every meet she did. But she knows that that's not cool. That there's no achievement in that. And so I really respect her for that. I mean, but there's people out there, Lee, that want to make money and want to be for celebrities. I mean, what does it really take to go on androgen blockers for a year? How much do you think it would take away from you? Let's say you're like a top tier male Olympic lifter, maybe not at the top 10 echelon, but close. You take androgen blockers for a year, you're gonna beat every woman record there is. I
don't reckon do anything. Well, let's look at Bruce, Caitlyn Jenner now. Imagine when he won the gold.
Right.
Let's just say a year or two after that, he decided to be a woman. Then
he was on androgen blockers. He was taking estrogen for a while, and then he decided he didn't. Did you know that? I don't know if you knew that he was going to transition, but then he didn't want to embarrass his kids when they went to school, so he put it off, and he went off the estrogen and the androgen blockers.
So imagine if he had gone into the Olympics back then, he could have won as a woman. He could have won as a man
easily. He would have won the heptathlon. It would have been a breeze for him.
But that whole thing about that woman, you're sort of coming down on her just because of her natural ability. That can't be right. It's just like what you penalise me because
bullshit.
I'm good.
It's bullshit. Let's call it. It's bullshit. And this poor, she should be able to defend her Olympic title. It's just absolute bullshit. And like you said, Lee, these athletes, these women athletes have to say, you know what, we're not competing. But they won't. You know why? Because they see it as an opportunity. Let all these other girls not compete, and we'll jump in there and take their place. It's a bunch of opportunistic people. That's why there's no organization, there's no unions, because these people are too selfish to stick together.
And the sad thing is, if she was American, that she'd have lawyers like that, probably because she's from South Africa or Africa. They don't have that exposure. But if that was in America, that'd be on the news saying you're being banned from this, being banned. This is what I want. I want most American runners to go to Africa and South Africa and train, because I've seen the people in America train. They run around the track. They got camera crews taking things like, I'm going to get a Nike contract.
Yeah.
They don't have their heart in it, Dave. Their heart's not in it. You go to Africa to train where these great runners come from, sprinters, long distance runners. You go to Africa, and if you get a fucking lion behind you, mate, it's the best training. It's the best training you can fucking get. Fight or flight, mate. You got to fucking run and run and run. You got to outdo this fucking lion.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember, back in the late 80s, mid to late 80s, I was really into distance running at the time. And all of a sudden, this country that no one had heard of, it was called Djibouti. I don't know if it's still called that. It was an African nation. Djibouti. All these African runners were coming out of there. And they were winning all the marathons and everything like that. And people were like, where do these guys come from? They weren't even runners. Lee, they used to run 20 miles back and forth to work every day because they had no cars or no transportation, these guys. And they said, you know what? Let's put a fucking jersey on these guys and see what they could do in the marathon. They put them in there. They were winning marathons, these guys. They weren't even training. They just wanted to get to work in the morning,
Exactly. See, there's the difference in motivation there. As I said, Africa, you got a lion chasing you.
Yeah.
America, you got the police car chasing you.
And Lee, they were running barefoot. They didn't even have shoes on.
Which one are you going to transfer? But like you said,
they put these guys in Nike shoes. It improved their time, by 2 minutes or something like that.
Could you imagine putting a Nike pair of shoes on? Because I watch some of those documentaries. You see some of those families walking 10 miles just to get water.
Absolutely. And if you got to get to work on time and you wake up late, you got to run, right? You can't walk to work.
And people do forget, though, some of those tribes that live out there in Africa and different places, like I said, that 10-mile trip, you still do have wild animals on the way to the route.
You're damn right they do. And if they saw you, they got to run. Yeah.
Exactly. So you might have to walk a bit, then, oh, shit, there's a cheetah. I got to do a little bit of a sprint.
That's called interval training, Lee. We call that interval running here because we don't know how to. We have to actually train people there. That's natural.
That's how I've worked it out, Dave. See, they're good at long distance and sprinting due to the dangers. Americans are good at sprinting and like sort of high jumping.
We sprint to the McDonald's drive-through. That's what we sprint to. Yeah.
No, you got to sprint from block to block when the cops are chasing you. And occasionally, you got to go over the old fence, the backyard fences.
That's called the hurdles. That's how you train for the hurdles. Yeah.
Exactly. So you see the difference in training from America?
If it's a big fence, you might have to use a stick, and then that's the pole vault, right?
Exactly. Or just high jump where you go over backwards. And then when you land in that yard, you got the dogs.
Do you know who invented the backward high jump? Because they used to jump forward all the time. There was a guy by the name. Do you know who invented?
Frisbee. Was it Frisbee?
It was called the Fallsbury flop. It was that was the guy's name. Fallsbury was his last name.
Where did Frisbee flop come from?
I don't know.
I always heard of the Frisbee flop, but maybe I'm making that up.
The Fallsbury flop. He jumped over backwards, and he found you can go higher that way. They all thought he was crazy at first.
It's funny because when I clicked on YouTube this morning, speaking of high jump, the first thing that came up in order things was this dickhead here saying something about when's the right time to enhance. I haven't heard that shit yet, but who cares? But some Dave Palumbo guy, the right time to go enhance. I haven't listened to that shit yet, but yeah, but it was a picture of a girl standing in little shorts. It had a name there, something high jump or breaks high jump record.
Right.
But what it showed her, it just showed from her knees up to a bum to the middle of her back. It just showed her bum in these little tight shorts, so you don't even get to see her face. I'm like, I'm like, what the? But that's the thing. They had the pole vaulting on the other day, and same thing. The cameras are just zooming in on these.
You are right. The pole vault outfits that those women are wearing are outrageous nowadays. They're pretty crazy.
Have you ever seen when those poles snap sometimes? The odd occasion they snap and they just...
I'll tell you something. I pole vaulted a little bit in high school. And with the poles that don't bend, I didn't go that high, so I never got to the bendable poles. It's very scary. I'm afraid of heights, so it was not a good thing because you're up pretty freaking high. And you know what? If you miss that mat, you're gonna seriously hurt yourself and break your arm or something like that. Falling on the ground.
I always figure too, how many people have done it during training and actually missed that? Because you got to get it right in that spot too, that hole to get it over.
Yeah, well, it's a metal ramp. It's as long as you hit the thing, it goes in there. But the problem is that if you don't get up enough speed, you could fall backwards onto the ground.
I'd probably have to put hair around it so I got lint. That's just so I could go over.
Do you know that when I was running track, they said that no one would ever break 20 feet in the high jump, and then Sergei Bubka, I think it was, from Russia, broke the 20-foot, and they said they thought that was a miracle. There's guys like in high school now who are doing almost 20 feet. It's incredible how once a person breaks a barrier, that all of a sudden all these people can do it again. It's a miracle, and it just goes to show you that a lot of things that can't be done right now is because there's a mental block against it.
Like this. Oh, there you go. You're frozen the whole time. I didn't hear what you said. What you said. You're like.
It doesn't matter, but
you're back.
My point is that the mind sometimes inhibits our bodies from doing what we can really do, and I think that sometimes if people think they can't do it, they can't do it. That kind of thing.
Again, he was from Russia. He jumped 20 feet pole vaulting. The Berlin Wall was 19 feet. See, so he had that training obstacle in front of him.
That's how he got over the wall.
It's
got you. See,
just look where people come from and how they train.
That's
It's
right.
like it equates to that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think
all factual.
Can you ask your fans to make you one of these? I have one of these Gujitsu Spider-Mans. They're called. I think you should make a Gujitsu Lee Priest.
And you just stretch them.
You stretch them. They're cool. It's kind of you can sit around all day stretching.
Can you put something?
You could be pulling on yourself all day long.
Put something between my legs and pull it.
That's right. There you go. You could tie it. You could tie it to your penis with a piece of dental floss.
Old school sent me a whole lot of shirts too.
I see. I almost wore that shirt. I'm glad I didn't. We would look like gay guys on Gay Pride Day.
Well, what's wrong with Gay Pride Day? It would have been nice.
I'm a fucking real man. I'm a Yankee today. I'm a Yankee.
Tyler's probably wearing his Rainbow Bright t-shirt for sure.
My dog is.
Oh, do you dress your dog up, do you, Tyler?
Yeah, just a rainbow collar.
There you go. Yeah, that's my favorite old school shirt, actually. I like the Coca-Cola, one.
I might wear it on Adam Carolla later on. That's in.
Oh, that's right. You're doing that today, this afternoon, right?
That's why he's so chipper.
No, I'm doing it at 6:42 a.m. now. I'm doing it at 8:15 a.m. So not that long away. So yes.
All right. Now, are you?
I wonder
Where
if
will
Adam Carolla's done all this study on me to look up what I do and shit. He's probably going on the YouTube and go, "Oh, holy shit! I got a loose cannon coming on today."
He's like, "Oh, he's like, oh shit! I'm gonna get demonetized." Oh man.
We're making no money from him.
Yeah. As soon as I put the word Lee Priest in and I hit send, YouTube automatically. I have to hit review. I have to send it to review. They automatically say it's not suitable. You can appeal this, and usually a lot of times they allow it. But as soon as your name comes up, they immediately send it to appeal.
There must be certain things though, because when I used to do the Sam's Fitness videos, if we talked about politics or if you mentioned the C word for that virus or someone in politics, certain names of people in politics, Sam would tell me, like he'd send it in. He goes, within like 5 minutes, he'd be like demonetized. And he's thinking, they couldn't have watched an hour.
Now, because your name is on the list, I think. I think you're on that demonetization list. As soon as your name comes up, it's demonetized.
When I put my name on, let's go by John Smith from now on. I shall now be known as John Smith.
We'll go by Lee McCutcheon from now on. Your real name.
Yeah, McCutcheon. Yeah, but it's weird. Yeah, he'd say be demonetized straight away. Just get a thing. Boom, and he'd have to do the same thing. Send in a review and say, why was this demonetized? Like, even shows I didn't swear on. I wouldn't say one swear word.
No, it's just your name. I think it's just your name comes up. You're on a list.
There's like Trump and then Lee Priest. It's incredible, isn't it? It's like unbelievable. Well, I saw people like the Guy Grundy show, the poor guy. Guy's been sending me the thumbs up, so I want you to know Guy is still with us.
Oh, he's still on. That's good. I saw that you're going to be on his Grundy and what's it called?
Maverick
show. Yeah. Yes,
I'm doing a cameo as I'll be like his psychiatrist talking to him, giving him positive motivation.
I love it. Now, when is that going to film?
Soon, I think. Soon. He sort of give me a rundown of sort of the script thing, but then he'll be like, "This is the idea, but you just go for it."
Oh, you're allowed to improvise. In other words, that's good.
Dave, look, me as a positive motivator, it like comes natural. It's a gift.
You're like Sir Lawrence. You're like Sir Lawrence Olivier. You have to be able to, just express yourself.
Exactly. They'll give me like the lines. If you give me the lines, I look at the lines and go, I got it. And then I start with what they said, the first word, hi, and then the rest is mine.
Yeah, you're like William Shakespeare. It just flows out of you. I got you. All right,
I'm like William Shatner.
There you go. Now, you'll let us know how Adam Carolla goes, and maybe you can ask Adam if you can get a little clip of the show so we can kind of put it up as a teaser to get people to go watch the show over there. He'll do that.
I think it's a show. He's had they gave me a list of all the people that have been on there. I mean, like very high up people in sporting and movies, and why they got me on, I don't know, because I don't fit into these categories of some of these even scientists. But hey, maybe they've gone to the high end for so long. So we've had all these smart, brilliant people on. Let's get on a dickhead. And they said, well, who we got?
Maybe they're setting you up for to be like the fall guy for some weird debate they're having or something like that.
They'll be wishing they never did that then, won't they? Like,
we saw that video he did with the black mask. Let's get him on,
Do you have that handy? You sure and ready there? Oh, yes, hold on. He's around somewhere.
All right. I gotta wrap this up. I know it's only 6 in the morning there, but it's we're coming to close time here at my shop. So, Lee, good luck on Adam Carolla.
Getting tired, is he?
Yeah.
What's your dog's name?
Baxter.
It better not be a game.
The dog's name is Baxter.
Baxter. What sort of dog is it?
A little mini schnauzer.
It's a schnauzer. It's one of those dogs that looks like it's 100 years old when it's born.
Oh, yeah. You got it shaved. It's shaved, so it's like got the squarish sort of beady.
Beard,
yeah, he's a cutie. Actually.
Is it gray color? Gray and whitish?
Blue marrow.
It looks gray, but it's like a bluish color,
yeah. Baxter.
Hey, Baxter. He's named after Tyler's grandfather, right?
His pseudonym, Brett Baxter.
Tyler's grandfather was a writer, and he had a pen name that he would write under. That was his name.
What was it?
Brett
Biggest
Baxter.
Biggest Stickus?
Biggest Stickus?
You find it funny when I mention my friend of Biggest Stickus?
Every time.
Lee, you got to send us a framed picture of yourself because Tyler is redesigning our set on our studio, and we got to put some pictures.
Framed picture?
We're going to put pictures behind us, so you send us a framed picture if you got one.
Very nice.
Do you want it like this?
Yes.
I'll leave it up to you, whichever picture you want. Yeah.
Well, don't leave it up to me, Dave. I'll send you one with like a little leaf like Adam from the. I'll send you one like leaning over the bed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe one of the David Paul pictures. That would be a good picture, probably.
How about a naked one of me naked, just holding my cat in front of me?
Whatever you want to do, we'll put up. As long as it's not going to get us demonetized.
No, you won't. No, you won't, because Amanda would walk in and go, "What
That's
the
true.
fuck?"
Yeah, it has to pass Amanda's approval. That's for sure.
Dave, we have children. You can't. Have
That's
pictures of Lee
right.
up
Yeah,
on
I
the
don't
wall.
know. I don't want to see your phallic symbol anywhere in the picture.
Okay, cause you got kids, Dave. I'll stand naked holding the Legos.
There you go. All right. All right, we're wrapping this up.
Kid friendly.
If you guys agree with what we said, or you guys have an opinion on the Olympic situation with the women and the transgender and all that stuff, I'd like to hear it in the comments below. Please let us know. And if you have any ideas for future shows on this, I'd like that as well. For now, we're wrapping things up. I'm Dave Palumbo with Lee Priest for another installment of Iron Rage.
Iron Rage. I tell you, I'm going to compete in the women's bodybuilding or figure or physique.
I can't wait.
The way it's going.